So from the internet, I found out that Baker's FIPS code for Baker was 001. So I selected all of the Baker blocks, and I exported them, so when I turn off all of Oregon, I just have Baker County. So I'm going to remove that. So now I'm going to add my attribute table that I created that I'm just calling Baker Kids. I wondered if I could do that. I can't do it. Some things you can drag and drop and some things you cannot. So this is in the AF download. It's called Baker Kids. And I always look at my attribute tables to make sure that things came in somewhat correctly. I hate that it does that. So good. I just did a few of the tables. You'll do all of them. Okay, so I have my data came in. I'm going to put that in my feature data set. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the Geo Database. Kids under 15, that's what I took out of there. Okay, so I have that now in the Geo Database. There it is. Let me go ahead and dock that thing. I don't know. Okay, so I don't want this one, and I'm going to go ahead and look at that. Alright, so I have this ID, this ID2, and this geography, and I need to find a way to do an attribute join with the GeoID10. So you can see the GeoID10 starts with the name of the state, then the county, 001 is Baker, and then the different parts of the block groups and the tracks and the census blocks. So if I open up both of these attribute tables, I can see that this part would match that part. So I might be able to do a one-to-one there. This is also actually, this is just the FIPS code that's for some reason been identified as an exponential number. This is seen as text, it's left justified. This is seen as a number, it's right justified. So there's a couple ways to do this. I'm going to add a new field, and I'm going to call it, I don't know what I said in the directions, but let's see, what did I tell you to call it? Not that you'll listen to me anyway. I'm going to call it ID3. ID3. I want it to be text. And what I want to do is strip those 9 characters off the right side of that field. So I'm going to go ahead and use the field calculator. I'm going to say string. And I think what I'm doing here is doing the right function. And then in these parentheses, I'm going to say from the ID field, take away 9 from the right. And if I do it wrong, we'll just redo it. The thing I don't ever want to do, nope, I did it wrong. I didn't want the 9, I wanted the 15. So I got some of it. I got those. Okay, you never want to work in that field because I want to keep that. So actually, I want to actually just keep the 15 numbers, not the 9 numbers. Okay, so there you go. So now this GeoID should match up with the GeoID here. I should be able to get a one-to-one. Another way to do this is to add another field. I'll call it ID4. Make it text. Say OK. And this time I'm just going to tell the computer in the field calculator that this should be text. So I'm just going to go into the field calculator and I'm going to choose ID2. So it's saying ID4 is equal to ID2, but instead of being a number, I want it to be text. And it should unpack it and make it a text number exactly. But you know what? It's not the same. That's very interesting. I've never had that happen before. Well, I don't recommend doing that method then. That's interesting. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to delete that one. And then I should be able to do a spatial join with that ID3 and the Geo ID 10. And the nice thing is I do have something to use as a control, because I do have the total population in here somewhere, I think. Yes, I have the population. So those numbers should match. So let's go ahead. I'm going to join I'm not doing a spatial join. I'm doing an attribute join. I'm going to join ID 10. Nope. With ID 3. I only want the matching records. Okay. So I should be able to take this population number, drag it to my total population here, and drop it there, but it didn't drop, of course. I think I let go too early. Where did you go? Population. Well, that's great. I dropped it somewhere, but I don't know where. Oh, here it is. Yeah, pop 10 and total 210. So those match. So this is one way I can confirm that my Geo IDs worked and they joined correctly. And then, of course, if I want to know the number of all the kids, I'm going to have to add a field, because I don't want to only talk about one gender. I'm going to make that a long integer. And then I can add these kids up. Oh, I've got to export it first. Okay, so in order to make that join permanent, I'm going to export this. And I'm going to call it okay. And now I wanted you to send me a copy in a folder. And I want it as a shape file. So somewhere on here you should have another folder. Look at this mess. That just has, you're going to call it a shape. If you call it export output, I'm going to be really sad. And I don't need you to add that to the map. I'm going to remove that. You can also remove that if you want, but I would leave it. I can remove that. And then now you should be able to do any of the field calculations that you want to do. Okay. And then field calculator, we're going to go all the way down here and add that plus that plus that. Okay, and so now what I have is the total number of kids in those counties or those blocks by age. Okay, nicely done.